Today we're going to dive into the incredible story of Dr. Joe Dispenza and this really radical idea that he put to the ultimate test, that our thoughts, our own minds, can create real physical changes in our bodies. It's a story that starts with an absolute catastrophe and ends with a whole new science of what's possible. Okay, let's just start with this question right here, because it's at the very heart of everything we're about to get into. What if your own body, your own nervous system, could cook up chemicals that work even better than any drug you could buy? Let's explore that.
So, our story kicks off back in 1986. Dr. Dispenza, a young chiropractor at the time, is in a triathlon, and bam, he gets hit by a truck. And we're not talking about a minor accident here. This was a devastating event that put him at a massive crossroads in his life.
And the reaction he got from the medical community? Well, it was just total disbelief. When the doctors told him he needed a life-altering surgery, Dr. Dispenza made a choice that to them sounded completely insane. They literally thought the accident had knocked a screw loose.
And you can kind of see their point when you look at the diagnosis. 6 broken vertebrae with little bone fragments pressing right on his spinal cord. The only path forward, they said, was this huge surgery to install what are called Harrington rods from the base of his neck all the way down to his spine. A procedure that would have left him in chronic pain with limited mobility for the rest of his life.
So this was it. This was the moment of truth. He could either face a future of permanent disability from the surgery, or he could turn his back on everything conventional medicine had to offer and just step into the complete and total unknown.
He decided to bet on this concept he called innate intelligence. His reasoning was pretty simple. If there's some kind of consciousness inside us that can run trillions of functions every single second without us even thinking about it, well, then it must have the power to heal too. He decided he was going to try to connect with that power, give it a blueprint for his recovery, and then just let go and trust it.
But here's the thing. This was not some instant miracle. The first 6.5 weeks were pure misery, a real dark night of the soul, where he just could not get his mind to cooperate. Every single time his attention would drift off into fear or doubt, he'd have to start the whole mental rehearsal all over again. And then, one day, something just clicked. The process suddenly got easier. And just 10.5 weeks after the accident, he was back on his feet, walking, with absolutely no surgery. That experience, as you can imagine, sent him on a lifelong quest to understand how on earth this happened. And more importantly, how could he teach other people to do the very same thing? This led him to develop a whole method for quite literally rewiring your brain.
The process he came up with really boils down to 3 key steps. First, you have to become aware or conscious of all your unconscious thoughts and habits. Step 2, you mentally rehearse the person you want to become, basically installing new neurological hardware before you need it. And third, and this is the absolute key, you have to teach your body what that future is going to feel like.
And this chart just brilliantly shows that shift. Most of us are running on about 95% unconscious programming, emotionally addicted to our past problems. The goal is to move from that state to a new one, where you are consciously designing your personality because you understand that a new personality is what creates a new personal reality.
So how do you get past that chatty analytical mind to do this work? Well, it's all about brainwave states. By slowing your brain down from that busy analytical beta state, you move through the creative alpha state and you can enter theta. Now, in theta, your body's basically asleep, but your mind is awake. The door to your subconscious, your body's operating system, is just wide open.
And this right here is the science behind why that mental rehearsal is so incredibly powerful. When you are truly in the moment, imagining an experience, your brain actually doesn't know the difference. The neurons fire and wire just as if the event has already happened, which essentially creates a neurological map to your future.
Okay, so this whole thing worked for him, but could it work for other people? This is where the story gets even more compelling. Dr. Dispenza started holding these workshops and measuring everything, turning his personal miracle into a global experiment.
And the results, well, they've been, in his own words, just unbelievable. People with really serious, often medically defined, incurable conditions just started to get better. We're talking about documented, spontaneous remissions from everything from stage 4 cancers to spinal cord injuries. And listen, these aren't just a few rare one-off cases. The data from their week-long events is just stunning. Between 70 and 80% of the people who show up have measurable, significant changes in their biology. To put that into perspective, most clinical drug trials would kill for a success rate like that.
And they can measure it right down to the molecule.
In just 3 days of practicing feeling these elevated heart-centered emotions like gratitude, participants' levels of something called immunoglobulin A, which is basically your body's first line of defense like a natural flu shot, it increased by an average of 50%.
But maybe the most mind-bending finding of all is what they call the community effect. See, at the start of an event, everyone's got their own unique genetic signature. But by the end of 7 days, almost 80% of the group are expressing the exact same genes. It's almost as if a collective consciousness emerges that's then reflected in their shared biology. It's wild.
So all of this is building to the final, really empowering takeaway from all this work. It's about a fundamental shift in our very state of being.
You know, most people live their lives in a state of survival, just ruled by stress hormones. Their outer world is completely in control of their inner world. The work is to shift into a state of creation, where your inner world, your thoughts and feelings, starts to create your outer world. You move from being a victim of your circumstances to becoming the creator of your life.
And this quote just captures the essence of that shift perfectly. It's not about waiting for something outside of you to happen to change how you feel on the inside. No, it's about generating that feeling of wholeness, of abundance, of empowerment first. And by doing that, you are causing the effect. You're literally teaching your body emotionally to be the person you want to become.
So we end right back where we began, with a question. We know for a fact that the hormones of stress, which are often triggered by our own negative thoughts, can lead to disease. So, if your thoughts have the power to make you sick, is it really so far-fetched to believe they also have the power to make you well? The evidence suggests we are only just scratching the surface of what we're truly capable of.